I think for the Negro to turn to violence would be both impractical and immoral.
I have to hand it to MLK. He was an extremely influential man. Now, he said a lot of interesting things. And what we're going to do here today is I'm going to play some clips. We're going to listen to what he says, and we're going to ask some questions, because that's the best way to get a better, clearer understanding of what did that person really mean when they said this, that, or whatever. All right, so let's play the clip and let's get into it.
Now, what I'm saying is this. I would like for all of us to believe in nonviolence, but I'm here to say tonight that if every Negro in the United States turns against nonviolence, I'm going to stand up as a lone voice and say this is the wrong way.
Basically, like, the whole nonviolent thing is so brilliant. It's just so brilliant.
I want to welcome you to The Question, where we do a deep dive into information and statements that have been made that many people find to be true or controversial. And the best way for us to do this is by asking questions. I'm your host and guide, Theron King T. Washington. Now, I want to make you aware that there are times when my insight comes from a biblical perspective. Let's jump into it.
I will never change in my basic idea that nonviolence is the most potent weapon available to the Negro in his struggle for freedom and justice. I think for the Negro to turn to violence would be both impractical and immoral. There is a group in the Negro community advocating violence now. The vast majority of Negroes still feel that the best way to deal with the dilemma that we face in this country is through nonviolent resistance. And I don't think this vocal group will be able to make a real dent in the Negro community in terms of swaying 22 million Negroes to this particular point of view.
Let's give a listen to Chad O. Jackson, film producer of Uncle Tom 2 and the MLK Project. He's going to fill us in and help us to get a clearer, a better, stronger, clearer understanding of King's purpose behind the civil rights movement. Check it out.
Basically, like, the whole nonviolent thing is so brilliant. It's just so brilliant because, you know, you build these kind of situations in these moments and you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to ensue. The whole point of nonviolence is you get people into the streets, you don't pull permits so that the traffic can be regulated and the noise can be controlled and all the things. You don't pull the permits, you have these unlawful marches. And to the extent that the sheriff's department shows up and tries to remove you, if you aren't being compliant, you're continuing marching, then they have to necessarily remove you by force.
Two questions come to mind. One, was MLK for or against segregation? If he was against segregation, I believe that's what they said, against segregation and for integration, then why was his message always to, for, and about the Negro community? If you listen to his talks, his speeches, he was always uplifting the Negro community. And if anything, it sounded like he was anti-America. If you really listen, it sounded like he was against whatever America he was claiming America was doing against the Negro. And he was always like, Negro have to lift themselves up. It sounded like there was a contradiction there because they were speaking, they were marching against segregation, wanting to integrate, but yet he continued to preach for black people rising up, the Negro community, instead of America as a whole. Now, the question I also want to ask is, should a Christian pastor separate people that way, one ethnic group over everyone else? Now, he said, I'm a black pastor. Okay, I get it. You only speaking for the black community. I understand that. That's what you're there for. But he would call himself, and I think other people call himself, a Christian pastor. That's not separation. That's bringing everyone together as a whole. What was civil rights for? So that's another question. Civil rights, was it for the Negro community or was it for everyone in America? So you gotta ask those questions, because when you hear him talk, he would say civil rights, right? We take it as everyone. But he was always saying the Negro must do this, the Negro must do that. We need this for the Negro, for the Negro.
The reality is that Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement served in America as a kind of Marxist Trojan horse. From the outside, it appeared to be moderate and pro-American.
This is a gift. We should take it to the temple of Poseidon.
And it's for this reason that America accepted it. But when you look at the results that followed, which were intentional, an expanded government, various socialist policies, a heightened welfare state, the facts reveal that this wasn't ignorance, but malice. They quite literally wanted to Sovietize America. In a 1965 interview, Bettina Aptheker said that the American political landscape is the perfect one for communism because Americans believe that they live in a democracy.
Communist philosophy or socialism easily and has to adapt to the country in which it's taking place. In this country, there will never be socialism unless the overwhelming majority of the American people passionately want it, and want it so badly that they're going to go out and get it. It's one of the things that gets me so excited when I start thinking about the possibilities of socialism in this country. The civil rights movement has already begun to develop a certain program. It is revolutionary, and it is also, I think, much more democratic.
So you can democratize social issues, and you can, in a sense, pull out the heartstrings of America. They will then let their guard down, and they will democratize socialism into reality. And so I don't see Martin Luther King fighting against that. I see Martin Luther King as a participant in that, which is a subversive thing.